So the exercise that I'm about to do is using acupressure points, which are like acupuncture but without the needles, using finger and thumb pressure in order to release tension in the head, neck and shoulders.
And what's the object of the exercise?
The object is to release the tension that so many of us hold in our necks and shoulders, especially, for example, shoulders coming up by the ears, which is where just about everybody carries tension.
Yeah. So what's the general effect that it has on people? You've done this lots of times, haven't you?
People often say that their stress is easing, their headaches easing, and even worries that they had. They might say something like, "Oh, I don't know why I was worried about that." And it helps people to sort of get a distance with their issues, a different perspective, a broader perspective.
So can people teach themselves and teach other people? Are you teaching them to teach themselves?
Yes, that's right. With just about all my clients, I'll show them literally how to find these points on themselves. That it's even better if somebody else can work with them. So once they know how to find them on themselves, they can show somebody else, a friend or a partner, who can then work with them. And it's very good done as a swap. So both will benefit in that way.
So can that be demonstrated on the film? Could you learn just by watching this?
Yes, you could learn by seeing where I'm actually making contact on the 6 pairs of acupressure points. And then by finding them on your own body, you can then apply that to whoever else you're working with.
So how hard do we know how to press?
You get feedback from the person you're working with, and if they go, "Ooh," like that, then you know it's too much. And it's always better to start a little bit more softly and gradually increase, and they'll say a bit more, "Yes, that's it, hold it like that." And then you'll know that that's right when they go, "Yes, that's it," like that. And that's often what they call a good pain, because it should feel like pushing on a bruise when it's at the right pressure.
A nice pain.
Yes, nice pain or good pain. So these are the first points in the sequence on the edge of the shoulder blade. So first of all, you find the side of the shoulder blade and you go higher and higher, coming up to the junction, the joint with the arm, and then at a certain point, just before the top, there's a feeling like pushing on a bruise, and the person will often go, "Ooh," and they'll jump, or they'll go, "Ah," and that's when you've got it like pushing on a bruise. That's how it should feel.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who is on the receiving end will be very clear about that usually. And then what you do is you just keep in contact with that constant pressure, and the person on the receiving end feels it as they breathe in and they breathe out, and the sharpness starts to dull and release. And it releases more and more, and there's often a feeling of softening under the fingers or thumbs, whatever you're using, and often a warming up at the same time. So it's always a good idea to get feedback from the person you're working with. So how do those feel now?
Easing.
Is it easing on both sides? Then we move on to the next ones, which are under this ridge of bone called the spine of the scapula, into these hollows here and here. Yes?
Yeah. Okay.
And again, just checking that the pressure is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the same thing as holding a constant pressure, and both the person who's doing it and the person on the receiving end to breathe and concentrate on the contact, how it feels. And on the receiving end, you'll feel it warming and the sharpness becoming more and more dull. And if you're actually pushing on the points, you'll feel them softening and warming under your fingers or thumbs.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah.
Okay. You'll probably notice I'm doing circling in each direction, which I normally do at the end of each of the points to help the energy to flow through the meridians, the energy channels that we're working with here, which are energy channels for different internal organs. So I've moved on to the next ones now, the top inner corners of the shoulder blades. Can you feel those? And again.
Not so bad.
Are they sharpish?
Not so bad.
Okay.
Yes, I feel
Does that feel right? The right pressure?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with each of these. It's constant pressure.
Yeah, I feel right. More.
Does that feel as if the pressure is stronger on that side?
Yeah, stronger. Yeah.
Okay, so how does it feel now on the left-hand side?
Disappearing.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move up to
It
these
was easy.
these two here, which are very important points because these are the ones that cause the shoulders to come up by the ears, which just about everybody has, as in they hold tension in their shoulders. The trapezius muscles cause the shoulders to come up by the ears, so this helps to release that. How is that pressure?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes it helps to allow the shoulders to go back and down, as if they're going down towards the hips and back towards the chair at the same time. Just imagining that that's happening.
Easy.
Oh, that was very quick, that's good.
Yeah.
And they feel as though they're starting to soften under my thumbs. The thumbs feel as though they're sinking into some plasticine that's warming up or something like that, softening. I'm moving up now to these points at the base of the skull, which again is one of the areas that many people hold tension in fact most people. And if these previous ones are tight, then these are also tight. It's the same meridian, the same organ, which is actually gallbladder. So feel these two
painful.
tender points here in these hollows, there and there at the base of the skull. And I'm moving up and in and together as if they're going to converge here. So I'm supporting the forehead in order that the head doesn't get pushed forward. And again, it's constant pressure and focusing on how it feels, and the person on the receiving end is feeling how that's changing in terms of becoming softer and often warming up at the same time. And then that feels as if it's beginning to soften now. How is that for you?
Soften.
Good. I'm moving to the two that are in the middle. They're so close together that they almost can feel like one point sometimes because the nerve endings are so close. How does that feel?
Feels good. Painful, but good.
Okay, so it's a so-called good pain.
It's pain, yeah.
Yeah. So those are the last points in the sequence.
I became aware with tense in that area, so I didn't.
And you may notice, as I'm starting to do now, that the back of the neck is stretching out as if it's lengthening, which is one of the things that commonly happens with these last two pairs of points. And there's also side bending and rotation happening spontaneously. So allow that to go as far as it wants to go. And you may notice a stretching on the other side, so you may notice a feeling of stretching on this left side as that's happening.
Yeah.
And breathe as you feel that stretching. And now you probably notice it's coming back the other way. And just keep noticing how that feels. And concentrate on any pulls, stretches, twists as you breathe. And that enables a more rapid release. And that's softening more and more as that movement is happening. How does it feel now on those
Relaxed.
2 points?
Very relaxed.
Good. So, that's the end of that sequence. So what I'm doing now are these 2 points here, and a lot of people discover these for themselves because they find that it helps with tension headaches in the forehead and migraines, whatever you want to call them. And in this case, instead of just holding constant pressure when you get these 2 hollows here behind the eyes, you actually do circles. How is that pressure?
Painful.
Is it about the right pressure?
Just about that, yeah.
Okay. And you'll notice I'm doing backward circles, which is what people normally do, but some people do a few forward circles as well. So often do a mixture of forward, a few forward, but mostly backward circles. I'm easing off a little bit, and I'm noticing how that's starting to warm up. How does that feel for you?
Easy.
So
Slowly.
starting to slowly ease. Shows how much tension there is to begin with that. And it certainly felt when I first started that there was a lot of tension there. Yeah, so that seems to be softening as it's warming. How is that now?
Definitely better.
Good. Is it better on both sides?
On both sides.
Starting to balance?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the end of that sequence.